Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Arcanum. I do have the Tyrann's note here already. It says, the crow is in danger, Tyrann. I think we may have actually met where Tyrann is after this, so this may not actually be necessary, but let's find out. Why am I going this way? I just need to do this. Let's do that. There we go. Hello? Okay, nope, it wasn't actually necessary. Figures. In that case, I'm just going to load back up and put the note back. Yeah, I guess I have met Tyrann afterwards. Game? Game? Okay, that was odd. No room for that item. Well, shucks. Now there will be. Yeah, I have a lot of junk in here. I do. Okay, let's go ahead and teleport to Caledon and see if we can find him. Okay. Where exactly am I going? Alright, it's all the way in the north. Kinda wish the combat music was still playing. It seems fitting. I think it's that one. Reach the maximum number of allowable waypoints, of course. Kind of wish that the green dress was the good one in this game, but it's not. Nope, not gonna take any of that. All right, we've got this house. I think this is it. Arthur Tyrann. For good measure, let's just put on our dress. What do you want? What are you doing here? You're working for them, aren't you? Working for who? He says nothing for a moment, his eyes darting from side to side, perhaps looking for the best escape route. You know who. The day has finally come, is that it? Arthur Tyrann has become too dangerous to be allowed to stay alive. You're Arthur Tyrann? Cesar sent me. He grabs you. The skulls! Have you brought the skulls? Yes, here they are. He examines them with barely contained excitement. Yes, yes! It is all coming together now. What is? I have uncovered a plot, the ramifications of which could bring down the government of Toronto, but I will need your help to finish my work. Is that so? His eyes dart around again suspiciously. Have you ever wondered where all these half-ogres are coming from? 100 years ago, a half-ogre? A half-ogre was a rare thing, usually the result of raping and pillaging, but human women aren't equipped to birth a baby the size of a half-ogre. That is rather strange. I'd never thought of it before. He leans in close to you, intensity dripping from his brow. They're breeding them. They're enslaved. They've enslaved women and are forcing them to mate with ogres, I tell you. Who's doing this? The gnomes of the Industrial Council in Tarant. Have you ever noticed that every gnome seems to have at least one or two half-ogres always following him around? They're breeding them for protection. How did you find out all of this? Oh, I've been on the trail a long time, I have. And now that you have brought me the skulls, I'm ready to close in and grab the proof I need to expose them. It's just that, well, I'm not much in the way of physical prowess. I need someone I can trust to collect the evidence for me, as I don't think I would survive. It is sure to be a treacherous endeavor.
What does all this have to do with the skulls?
The Siamese twins were the result of the first twisted breeding experiments. They tried to breed elves with orcs to produce a breed of extremely strong, resilient mages that they could then control. This was before it was obvious that technology would one day rule Arcanum, of course.
So what happened?
The twins were the only viable offspring to come from those experiments. They were scheduled to be put to death, but they disappeared from the laboratory before their termination could take place. They appeared in high society some 20 years later. We believe they must have been under the protection of a powerful ally of ours on the council for them to have survived that long.
Who's this ally of yours on the council?
No one knows. I've communicated with him in the past through codes in the newspaper and other surreptitious means.
I could possibly help you. What would I need to do?
Through my research, I've discovered the most likely location for this breeding facility is a small island I've dubbed Half-Ogre Island, near Thanatos. You would need to find a way into their laboratories to bring me some sort of evidence I can use to expose them to the world.
Why not have de Cesar do it?
Sir M. de Cesar is dead.
What?
I just saw him.
Well, then I suppose I have no choice then, do I?
Excellent. Here, let me mark your map with the location of the island. Don't speak with anyone about this. It could be unhealthy for you and me.
Agreed. I shall return with your proof.
Okay. What are you waiting for? Even now they are getting closer to uncovering my whereabouts. We are in imminent danger of being found out. You must make haste.
They're not actually, like... Their heads weren't connected. So I'm not sure where they were connected. Alright, well... first of all... Let's see if Cesar is gone from that spot. We do now have Half-Ogre Island there. I don't think we ever go to that island. I'll see if I can teleport to it. I have not actually tried teleporting to a place that I have not been before. So I suppose this might be a good opportunity to test it. He is gone. And now it is getting dark. Alright, well. Let's see if we can teleport. You are unable to teleport to this location. Something is blocking you. Alright, well, let's go back to Caledon. We'll try and get a ship captain to do the teleportation for us. Alright, let's go. Might want to wait until, like, the next morning or something. Just so that it's bright out. It's time until morning. Hello. Let's see. I'm looking for passage to Half Ogre Island.
Passage will cost you 100 coin a head.
Come back here, Raven. Alright, passage for 8.
If you can figure, then you knows it will be 800 coins.
I'm ready to go to Half Ogre Island. We've got a lengthy path going up this way, which does seem that this is where we want to go. I don't know if there's anything else here. We have some ominous sounds. And a very, very dark facility. Not seeing much that I can interact with. There's some cages there. There's some forest up that way. I know I'm supposed to get something here, but... Oh, there is a safe. It is unlocked. And Half Ogre Laboratory Journal. I got a fate point, and I guess I got hit with a trap. I think I got some experience points as well. Alright, let's go ahead and read this. Experiment 1004A, Section 5. The male human female half-ogre coupling producing offspring seems to be extremely rare occurrence and cannot be depended on for significant numbers. The female human male half-ogre experiments fare much better, but with 100% loss of host. Experiment 1008.5 CE, Section 2. Our rate of experimentation has increased with the new influx of the female subjects from the lower part of society. These new hosts cannot even be relied upon to go to term, being in such poor health, suffering from common ailments those living in this manner are subject to. A healthier source of subject would help immensely. As I have some new surgical ideas I would like to implement, but the subjects I have to work with would not hold up under the knife. Experiment 1015E, Section 1. The new surgical techniques we are applying have reduced the numbers of fatalities by removing the unborn before term. The hosts seem to be viable for 3 harvests before their bodies fail. Subnote 1. Some of my less dedicated colleagues have had to be dismissed, as they were expressing doubts about our new female host. I have no such compunctions. Once they are here, they are a number to me and nothing more. Scientific advancement would never occur if the weak-willed were to have their say. Well, isn't that gross? Doesn't seem to be anything in these cages here. I think this is, do you remember back on the Isle of Despair, we met that one half-ogre who was more intelligent than others and liked to read? I believe he was the results of one of these experiments. I think that's kind of one of the things that's supposed to tip you off that there's something up. I don't know if there's anything to do in all these trees, and it really slows down my game. I'm pretty sure there's nothing else to do on the island. I don't even see any, like, creatures. Let's see if we get into any combats wandering around here. Nope. Rumored location of the secret breeding laboratory. Let's go back there.
Are you ready to return to Caledon, miss?
Yes, I am. Just advance time until morning. I mean, I like this waypoint system, but man, do they need more waypoints, and do they need it to be clear on how far you can go in one batch kind of thing. Alright, let's see if we can find Tyrion and talk to him about this. How he knew Matt de Cesar was dead when I literally just teleported down here, I don't know. Then again, Tom Grack had been standing around waiting for me to talk to him for 4 years. So, who can I say? Yeah, did I mention that? It's been in-game time 4 years we've been on this adventure. It's a little bit ridiculous. Days pass by really fast when you're wandering around on the map. Oh, a gnome city dweller. Let's save it real fast.
I'm glad you are here. You were working with Tyrion, were you not?
Who are you? Where's Tyrion?
I do not know. I was meant to meet him here. We were to exchange information.
I don't believe you. What have you done with him? Oh, really? And what information would that be?
Information that is dangerous to possess. I've been on the same search as Tyrion and his colleagues, but I believe I've gone much deeper.
Oh, well, what have you discovered?
I should be asking you that. You have recently acquired something damning to certain parties, have you not?
No? Well, what makes you think I have?
Ah, I see you are wary. That is smart, as the trail we are following is a dangerous one.
He thinks for a moment.
Very well, I will share with you the information I have gathered, and you can decide for yourself whether to believe me or not. I'm not certain how much of it I believe myself, but this is what I have found out.
I'm listening.
About 55 years ago, a group of gnomes from various parts of Arcanum began to acquire large amounts of money from investments in the new technology. As their wealth and perceived influence began to grow, age-old prejudices began to surface. Gnomes were thought to be miserly thieves. The other races did not trust them to gain power.
Go on.
There were thefts, beatings, and threats, mysterious letters in the night warning the little gnomes to keep to their place. The gnomes tried human bodyguards to no avail. Any human that would be a bodyguard to a gnome at that time was by definition an untrustworthy, shiftless sort. At first they tried unsuccessfully to breed elves and orcs into some bestial magic hybrid to do their bidding.
Ah, the Siamese twins.
Exactly. But you know all about what happened to them now, don't you? It was a foolhardy idea to begin with, at any rate. Orcs have a natural dislike for gnomes, and the gnomes needed something much more docile.
I'm listening.
The next obvious choice seemed to be the half-ogres, tired of being hunted, and the promise of large amounts of food gained the gnomes extremely loyal bodyguards. But there was a problem. A half-ogre was a very rare thing in those days, and with good scientific reasons for being so.
and the gnomes without bodyguards were used as leverage against those protected. Go on. The greatest concentration of these gnomes were in Tarant, which was still a monarchy at that time. They pleaded with the king for his help, but the last thing the king wanted was a group of rich banker gnomes with power in his kingdom. The beatings continued, and the king and his court turned a blind eye to their plight. That was when, well, let's call him Mr. X, decided to act.
Mr. X?
Yes, he hired a prostitute to go home with him one evening, and he locked her in his basement, where he also happened to be keeping a full-blooded ogre. You can imagine what happened then. She died giving birth, as was to be expected, but Mr. X now had his future bodyguard. He recruited some other gnomes, and the kidnappings began in earnest.
What happened then?
For safety's sake, they set up a breeding laboratory on the island you visited. The plan wasn't working out as well as they had hoped, as the women all died giving birth. And the more prostitutes that disappeared, the more the authorities were looking into their affairs. They decided to try surgical means of delivery, but the women were too sickly to survive that.
Go on.
This is when the king's hirelings discovered what was happening. Unfortunately for the king, though, the gnomes had become incredibly rich in this time. Rich enough, in fact, to purchase the king's murder and the kidnapping of the queen and her young son. Rumors began circulating immediately, pointing to the queen as the killer of her husband.
The queen was brought to the island, wasn't she?
Yes, she was the patient in the first successful operation. She mothered 3 before she passed, I believe. Soon after, the Industrial Council gained power in Tarant. The disappearances of prostitutes began to slow down, but a mysterious rash of disappearances of the wives and daughters of the political enemies of the council began.
That is horrible.
They only lasted for a short time, however, as they had now bred enough half-ogre females to no longer need to rely on human breeders. They have hundreds of them now, kept in cages on a breeding farm somewhere. They keep this whole thing in a cloud of mystery by releasing half-truths, lies, and even real information through unstable individuals like Tyrann.
So no one believes any of it.
Exactly. Everyone believes it to be the imaginings of madmen and paranoids.
Is this all true?
That's a good question. We must not be too anxious to believe it because we want it to be true, or too anxious to disbelieve it because we want it to be false. We must remain neutral in our decision as to whether it is true or not.
What? That's absurd.
It is either true or it isn't. Then none of it is true. Well, maybe some of it.
I'll bring proof to the press. I'll expose this whole thing.
What do you have? Nothing. You have a journal that was left for you to find on purpose, which could have been written last week. What have you seen? Why, I believe you saw an abandoned warehouse, nothing more, save what your twisted imagination made it out to be.
Very tempted to say, I have heard enough, I will now vent my frustration by killing you. Why are you doing this?
We always need more converts to spread the word. You might have had real information, but now you don't know anything. What have I told you that... What have I told you that is real? Feel free to tell anyone everything I have told you. I'm sure the press would love to hear your story. Perhaps. Good day to you, madame. It has been a pleasure.
My pleasure has not yet begun. It involves your excruciating pain.
I can't believe you'd have me attack such a good-hearted person.
Seriously? Seriously, guys? Well... No, not Virgil. I want... Where's the gnome? There we go. Holy cow! Just knocked me down. Thank you. There's nothing to loot. Well, you guys still like me, so... It's all fine. My dress didn't take any damage, did it? No, my dress is fine. Well, that's one member of this conspiracy who is dead. Alright, well, I think we could go to the press. I'm trying to remember. I think there is a press building here.
Which building is it? Yeah, it is this one. Alright. Let's head over there. I wonder if that gnome will show up as the, the most good thing that I've killed. Let's see. Total kills, 1,934. Most powerful, Gnome City Dweller. Least powerful, Tattered Bowman. Most good, Herver. Most evil, Lord of the Damned. Most magical, Gorgard. And most tech, Iron Arachnids. It wasn't the most good, but he was the most... Sam Longwell. I have evidence of a conspiracy you may be interested in. A look of suspicion crosses his face. What do you mean, conspiracy? Is this some type of jest? The Industrial Council has been illegally breeding half-ogres. Let's say I was interested in this story. I would need proof. It's all right here. By the gods, this is astounding. I can make my reputation with a story like this. If you leave this with me, I'll print it in its entirety. It'll be the story of a century. Okay, here it is. Looking through the book. I cannot believe this. This is what I've been waiting for. I'll write this up now and get it in tomorrow's paper. Good day. How's the story shaping up? I'm still working on it. It should be in the papers by tomorrow, as I said. Let's advance time one day. I say, you are the woman that survived that awful blimp crash. Awful business, really? How's the story shaping up? Really? Alright. Well, I guess I probably need to, like, go off screen and do that? Maybe wait that way? Yeah, let's go down here. Alright, let's head back up. Wait, what? It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Who are you? Where's Sam Longwell? Who? My name is James Leggett. I work here. Afraid I don't know any Sam Longwell. He was working here. I spoke to him. He said he was a reporter? I'm the only reporter who works out of this office. Local Caledonian reporter for the Tarantian for, what, 20 years now? Wait a moment. When did you say you spoke to this fellow? Tell him. He hits his hand with his fist. What is going on around here? I was sent on a wild goose chase that day, tracking down a mysterious anonymous tip that was wired here. Someone is playing us for fools, madame. So the guy I told my story to wasn't a reporter? As I said, I'm the only reporter that works out of this office. What's your story? Perhaps I'd be interested in it myself. Tell him the story. Well, I've heard some outlandish tales in my day, but that is just about the wildest. It's true, I tell you. I'm sure it is. He smiles in a way that tells you he is sure it isn't. I need to get back to work now, if you'll excuse me. Teach you to mock me, vermin. Good day to you. Yeah, so basically this whole thing is... I think it was supposed to be a riff on the X-Files. That's why that Mr. X was there mentioned. Yeah, so it was an imposter. I don't think there's any way to actually stop it, which is really crappy. Alright, well that's about it for this episode, I think. It takes care of that side quest. Let's check the rubbish bin. Yeah. And when we come back next time, we're going to see what we can do about getting to Thanatos, I think. But that will be then. See you next time, everyone.